Profitable businesses and savvy investors are driving the Dow higher every single day this week. A weekly gain of 307 points. The Dow stands at another all-time high, and I'm going to try to convince our expert panel that, corrections or not, this rally is far from over. And it may be the most shocking report on public education in a major U.S. city ever. 80% of New York City high school graduates in local community colleges are not able to read well enough for that work. If not an argument for school choice, I don't know what is. Education pioneer and former Washington, D.C. schools chief Michelle Rhee will join us to discuss that. But first up, President Obama's deficit dinner diplomacy, that's what I'm calling it, at a posh Washington restaurant with a dozen Republican senators Wednesday night was a 180-degree turnaround from his constant blame game Republican attacks the week before. But wait a minute. Politico broke the news today that the Obamas shared a secret supper with the Clintons just last week. So my question is, did Bill Clinton persuade President Obama to schmooze the GOP? Let's go to Maggie Haberman. She's a senior political reporter for Politico. Still with us, Blake Zeff, Hadley Heath, and Mark Simone. Maggie, thank you very much. So this 180-degree turnaround. Bill Clinton was a very good schmoozer. Did Clinton give the advice to Obama? You can tell me, Maggie. No one will know. You can give me the inside scoop. No one will hear us.
It'll stay right here. That's good to know.
Absolutely.
Look, you know, the details are pretty scant, as my colleague Glenn Thrush, who broke the story, put it. I think it is a pretty likely bet that Bill Clinton, you know, we do know he gave some advice about second terms to President Obama. I suspect that one of his pieces of advice was, you know, use a bit of a softer touch, right? Use sort of the schmoozy thing that you have not particularly enjoyed doing. Bill Clinton, as you said, was expert at this. This is something he was incredibly good at. He was very good at sort of the dining diplomacy, the supper diplomacy. I don't know how much, you know, you'll see President Obama completely change on this kind of front, but I think this is definitely a change in tune.
Look at this week. I mean, Maggie, if I get your story dates right, March 1st, okay, that was last Friday. That was the day the sequester was signed. Obama gives this news conference that was slashing and insulting and cutting at Republicans and John Boehner. You know that. And then all of a sudden comes this remarkable dinner diplomacy with these leading senators, and then I guess the next day he sits down with Paul Ryan, who he is also trashed, and so forth. I've never seen a bigger. This isn't a 180. This is a 360. No, it's a 180. But in other words, Bill Clinton, who I think is one of the smartest politicians, must have had something to do with it, Maggie.
I have no doubt that Bill Clinton impressed upon President Obama that this was incredibly important, and I think it is a safe bet that it got through to him. I also think that there's nothing wrong with giving Bill Clinton a little credit, and so maybe the appearance of, you know, the fact of this dinner going public adds to that. But I think it is a safe bet that Bill Clinton very strongly made the case that you are not going to get your way by using the bully pulpit and blasting Republicans all the time, and lo and behold, we have this change this week.
All right, Blake, you're our resident expert on Clinton and Obama. Right. Did Bill Clinton help to turn President Obama around and make him a schmoozer and a gentleman and an ambassador, and maybe they'll do some business?
Yes. I'm going to tell you, no one else knows this. I was hiding under the table, and I heard the conversation. That's exclusive.
Is this a breaking story?
This is breaking. This is a scoop.
This is better than you did on Chavez. This
Thank
is
you.
Much better.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Please
Thank
continue.
You. Yeah. No, look, I think President Obama, as you guys have said, has reached a realization where they're just not going to get anywhere. They're at loggerheads, and so reaching out to these guys and gals, these senators, is a good idea. Do I think that it will actually magically solve the problems and it'll bring people together? No. There are intractable problems. You have one side that wants tax revenues. You have another side that doesn't at all. And John Boehner won't keep his job if he gives on it.
Visions.
And so, yes, they have different visions. And so it makes everyone feel good that they're meeting together. But I'm not, you know, I'm not cracking open the champagne just.
All right, but Hadley, we had one of the senators who was in the Jefferson Hotel dinner. And actually, they're not trying to kill the sequester. They are arguing, discussing, and it was a good dinner from all accounts. Entitlement reform and tax reform. Now, they just have different visions of the two, and what I'm going to ask you is, can the two meet? Is that possible?
I'm not optimistic. Look, Clinton's legacy, we think good economy, he was better on free trade, and important compromises like welfare reform. There's an entire.
But that's the key word. You just used that word, compromise.
Exactly.
Compromise.
So you can talk.
I love that you guys are, I just have to say, I love that we're talking about Bill Clinton as the great compromiser, and the conservatives and Republicans love him. You guys loved him at the time. You were praising him. You thought he was wonderful.
That's right.
Oh, wait, that's
yeah,
right.
He did a lot of good things at the time.
Yeah.
Not everything.
I don't
not everything.
remember all that praise at the time. I'm sorry.
Well, look at
Continue.
where we are now. Look, now we have President Obama. You know, I would much rather have a President Bill Clinton than President
What's
Obama.
your take?
Here's exactly what he's up to. Bill Clinton only wants one thing, that's back in the White House. The only way is to get Hillary elected in 2016. The Democrats riding high now, but he knows that fades. If the economy's bad, people are out of work, the Democratic brand is not going to work in 2016. He's got to prop this guy up. He's going to have to coach this guy.
Like he did at the Democratic convention in Charlotte. Like he did in the campaign in Florida. I mean, Bill Clinton was really responsible in many ways for Obama's reelection.
But now he's got to get in there and teach this guy how to turn this economy around so it's booming at the end so Hillary can get elected.
Okay, stay on this track. I think you're hot as a pistol. Should Obama appoint Clinton as his budget negotiator? Just let Clinton do it. Obama can't. This charm offensive will never last. You know that. He's going to go out on the campaign trail and start trashing John Boehner again. Should they just appoint Bill Clinton as negotiator-in-chief?
Of course, you couldn't bring a better guy out of the bullpen. He'd solve the problem in a week, but there's a lot of ego involved there, and I don't know if you'd let him be the victor there. It wouldn't look good for Obama. If he could teach Obama how to cut government spending as he did, cut taxes, capital gains as he did.
Welfare reform. Maggie Haberman, I want you to weigh in. I'm giving you a big scoop here. Obama is going to nominate Bill Clinton to be negotiator-in-chief for all of these complex entitlement, tax reform, sequester, and oh my gosh, I don't know what else. What do you think of the possibilities of that, Maggie?
I am not feeling it, which is not to say that there is not some logic or people don't see some logic in what you're suggesting, but I'm just not seeing that happening. I don't think that President Obama wants his second term to turn into Bill Clinton's third term, and that's essentially what it would be.
Are you interested in it? Would you put a little blurb up on the Politico on this?
On the concept,
spreading a rumor.
No, you're not on the spreading the rumor, but I'll tell you what, when you tell me for sure that that's what's happening, that will go up in a heartbeat. When it's confirmed, absolutely.
Remember when Reagan wanted Ford as VP and Ford said, I'll be like a co-president, and that killed that?
Yeah.
Something like that would happen here.
I would.
Remember when Bill Clinton said that Hillary Clinton would be a co-president? That wasn't a good moment either.
Whoops.
So I don't think people like co-presidencies.
Thank you, Maggie Haberman. We really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you.
All right. Now, bad story. 80% of public school grads in New York City community colleges cannot read at an appropriate level. Former Washington, D.C. Education Chief Michelle Rhee is about to join us with a solution. And luckily, she's got a lot more answers than this guy.
Hi, I'm former male supermodel Derek Zoolander, and here at the Derek Zoolander Center for Kids Who Can't Read Good and who want to learn to do other stuff good too, we teach students of all ages everything they need to know to learn to be a professional model and a professional human being.